Hello everybody on a Friday. This is kind of an impromptu. Hello everybody out there on a Friday. This is kind of an impromptu live streaming session, I guess, with Max and Nason at Here Technologies. We're kind of playing with some new toys we got, hoping that everybody will enjoy it. We've got a kind of a camera set up here, and hopefully we'll have more than one camera so we can pan around and show you our hovel one day. Just trying to see how you like this and how it works, really. This is more of a test than anything. Got a Hearback Pro mixer right here in the shot. We're just playing back some tracks that were supplied to us by one of our real good friends, and wanted to show you some things that we're going to be showing at the AES show in Los Angeles. I think it's the end of September. Don't get me to line. I think we're in booth 627. So come by and see us. We got some really cool stuff. But if you have any questions, man, fire them in. Nason and I are here, and we'll do whatever we can. Like we said, this is unannounced. This is just more to see how this works than anything else. Had a few questions about the Pro that I keep getting when people email me, and it's just how in the world did we arrive at what it looks at, or what it looks like, and it's really simple. We did a bunch of surveys, and I think everybody remembers this guy that we still make. I think everybody recognizes him. And we just talked to everybody that used them and said, well, what do you really want? Because we got so much competition out there, and it's kind of like, well, the first thing that everybody really wanted was utter simplicity. Just like this one, all you do is turn a knob and you're done, go on about your business. Well, with the Pro, we tried to keep it the same way. In other words, if you're out there playing, you're in the middle of something, you just don't really need to go through, a multiple button push or anything like that. It's just one touch and you're done. Go back to what you're doing. So we kept the analog feel of the knobs. And of course the knobs are parametric. They do more than one thing. But for most folks, especially, when you're up performing, all you got to be able to, see is I want to turn down the volume. I don't want to hear the guitar player. That type of thing. But that's how we arrived at the way this package looks. We tried to keep it smaller than the original. I can show you something really cute. This was the first iteration of this thing, and don't get scared, we didn't do it. But there is the very first Pro user interface circuit board, and we kind of figured you wouldn't like that. So it went all SMT, got smaller and real pretty, but that's where it all started right there. How many years ago? About 3 years ago, I guess, a little over that. And we ended up with what you see there. One thing that we have come up with, and one thing that folks have always, wondered about is, remember on the old one, we'd go to studios and we have them sent in for repair, and you got, the white tape going across and all that kind of stuff, trying to mark your channels. Well, this is something we haven't even released yet, and see what you think. It's a copy, basically, of the mixer overlay. So say you're in a studio and you want to save your session, you just write everything down. And when you're done, you can actually date it or whatever. If somebody comes back, you can just store it or do whatever, remove it, pop the next one on. So tell us what you think. We'll have these, we'll probably give a few away at the show and all that for folks that are users. But that was something we came up with. We were going to make them like clear that you'd write on and all, but with all the feedback we got, that seems to be the way everybody wanted it. That's one neat thing. Another thing that we really like the shows because we get to interface with the people that use this stuff, and a lot of the features we put into this thing we actually added due to requests. And one thing, just to show you, is people were saying, well, what if I'm setting up at the church? I got to be able to figure out if I'm getting a signal. So all we did was we threw this in. If you hit the aux and hold it, we have a signal. strength. It's not a signal strength meter actually on the channels. It just lets you know something's coming in. But you got an RMS meter here at the bottom, so it shows your actual overall level. So, you know, if you're sitting there tapping on the mic or you're sitting there hitting the bass guitar, at least you can tell, hey, yeah, it is getting to the mixer. You know, just a little thing to save time, kind of a neat little perk. You know, so that's just one thing. We've been working on some other stuff too. Of course, you know, you're familiar with panning and all. This mixer has some beta software in it. If you hit the pan knob and go to pan, you know, it looks pretty normal except for these guys up here. And at the shows, in fact, it was at AES in New York, I think, someone had requested, well, when you go to link these things, it was just a hard pan left and right and you were done. They said, well, what if we could actually take it and put it somewhere in the stereo spread? So we did that. So if you go to link, and there's link, you know, usually you can just hard pan it, pow. Now it's hard panned left and right. The neat thing about the link function now is, this one that is, we can literally take that and put it anywhere in the stereo spectrum. So we, you know, that guitar player's kind of that side of the stage, so I want to hear him over there. And then take the width, and we can actually make it as narrow or as wide as we wish. And here's the really cool thing on this, watch. You can actually reverse it.
You might want to turn down all the other channels so that they can actually hear.
And yeah, okay, Nason. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let me do this, folks. I'm going to turn down all the other channels. Well, put me back where this was the drums, right up here.
I think that is, isn't it?
Yeah, but you had me in 8 through 16 or 9 through 16. You didn't change it? Okay. Okay. Let's see what we got. Let's go to the drums. Like we said, this is just a. Let's.
I woke up this morning.
Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. There, let's just zero it out. Now.
You have the link.
Now let's see if we can get some signal.
Yeah, it's there. It's just I've got it.
Oh, he's got it down. Okay, and the drums are going to be on channels 1 and 2. Let's link it. Okay, we're going to link it. There we go. Now we're in pan mode. And we're playing with this, so we really don't know if you're going to be able to hear this or not. I've got it about halfway up. And of course, things aren't cooperating. I'm still not hearing anything. Yeah, turn me up a little bit. I'm not sure if the folks can hear it or not. Yeah, excuse the flaws, folks. This is new to us. But I can actually take that stereo pair and put it anywhere I want it. And if I don't want it, there we go. So I can, let's say I want to take it that way. And I don't want to fool. That would sound good to me. And of course, we're at the end of the song. There it goes. And now again, I can reverse it, which is pretty cool. Once you get all this stuff set up, now remember, if you go back to playing or whatever you're doing, after so many seconds, this guy's going to time out and it's going to go straight back to your volume screen. So you don't have to worry about that. If you get it set up to where you happen to like it, you can actually just go to a preset. This thing was not, I had zeroed it out, so I wasn't on a preset. It was just the live desktop, but I can actually just save it, say, to number 4. And so you can always just come back to it whenever you want to. So those are some features we came up with that we thought were pretty cool, that people did really want to see. Another feature we came up with, and this was one that everybody was pretty much wanting to see, is a solo function. So if sorry, I've got a lavalier here. If I take this and I hit aux and I just want to solo that channel, I am now soloing channel 2, and that's all that I'm going to hear, or I can just keep going.
I think the song's...
And I think the song is ended right now. But if the two channels are linked, then both of them will solo, showing you that you're hearing the two channels simultaneously. But that's a little hidden feature. And Nason's going to give us the song back again here. Okay, and if I solo the drums, there they are. And you have your RMS level. I can talk. Down here in a pretty kind of a, what is that, an aqua? I don't know what color that is. Magenta. He's calling it magenta, which is pretty cool. So it gives you the overall, exactly what you're seeing. It makes it kind of, convenient. And of course, to get out of it, you just hit a button and you're back to your volume screen. And so those are some of the features we've done. This thing is updatable, and the way we got these in there was, I don't have a programming card. You got one? There's one. In the side of the mixer over here, the Pro is a modular type system. There's a little access card point right here, and we can put anything there we want. You tell us, and we'll see if we can do it. But you just did a little programming card, which looks like this, got our logo on it, up, so you don't put it in upside down. You stick him in there, apply power, and the mixer will update itself. With whatever firmware happens to be on it. So that's pretty cool. And if anybody has any questions or anything, Nason, can you think of something?
Kind of maybe show them a little bit of that app.
Well, yeah. Oh, one neat thing that we're going to show at the show. I can't say that, show at the show, can I? Is an app that will allow you to control the mixers. In fact, do just about anything you want. Here's Nason's coming in from your iPhone. There we go. That camera is just not the world's greatest. And there's the mixer virtually. And he's going to hit it.
You basically see a list of what mixers are on the network. Choose which one you want to control. And then basically you can, let's see, are we controlling? This one is...
I don't know. Which one is this? 2FC3.
So actually what we can do, there's a function where I can put it into ID mode. If Donnie hasn't, he kind of messed with this button the other day. So this is still under development.
Come down a little bit. There you go. Now they can see it.
Anyway, kind of give you an idea that you can do some remote control capabilities of the mixer, and you can actually also update, once you update the software to this version, you'll be able to do future updates with the app itself. Let's see if I can get into that mode.
Yeah, bring her down. There you go. It's hard to do this with the one camera.
I begged him to fix this button the other day, and he told me he accidentally covered it up with something.
Yeah, I think he broke it.
He might have broken it.
Yeah, well.
But anyway, but it'll actually check with each mixer to see what version of firmware it has, and it'll actually check with our website to see what the latest version is. So if there is a new version, you can actually just download it directly to your phone and then push it out to either one or all the mixers at the same time. So pretty cool. And you'll be able to do session management of all the mixers. So basically, if you got a session going in the studio and then everybody leaves for the day, you got a different group coming in the morning, but these other guys are going to come back. You can save all the settings, and as long as you make sure that each person gets the same mixer, when they come back in, you can basically just recall those settings, and boom, you're done. You don't have to go to every single mixer and save the settings on a mixer by mixer basis. You can do it with just the touch of one button on this app. So we're also looking at we have the thing called the Session Manager, and that's basically where you're going to be able to take a photo of the floor layout of your studio or import a drawing of the floor plan, and then you can basically position the mixers on that floor plan, so it's real easy to identify which one's which. So that's the Session Manager.
Cool. Thanks, Nason. Not sure what else. Oh, One big thing that everybody really wanted to see, and had a lot of guitar players, and especially, houses of worship, the folks that are actually in the, the worship teams come up and say, well, this is really nice and all, but when I'm in the middle of playing, I really can't, if I got to talk to everybody, our built-in intercom function, when we can, we can talk back and forth, skip the next song, whatever, and everybody can hear you and you can talk back and forth. I said, well, I can't really get over there when I'm playing guitar. And we thought about it a while, and we came up with this. And yeah, if we could. And this is the intercom foot switch. So basically what this does is it just hooks up to the microphone input. Let me see. There we go. On the Pro mixer, and it's kind of in series with it, really, is what it is. And if you just ignore the foot switch, your microphone, your vocal microphone, is your front of house mic. If you hit the foot switch in order to talk to the band, it cuts off front of house. You go live to the intercom, say what you need to say, let go of the foot switch. It's bang, back to front of house like nothing happened. So this thing seems to be doing pretty good, and just one of those little convenience features, that could, really help you out. And they are in stock, and we'll have one. Yeah, get the overlay off of it there. We'll have one at the show, to let you see it. Yeah. Yeah, you got one of the little goosenecks? Oh, just a regular? Okay, that's cool too. We're going to get it so we can pan the camera and stuff. Yeah, I don't think we have enough mic cables. Like I said, this was just kind of impromptu to see how this works. But, if you folks like it, just let us know. Or heck, chime in with what features you want to see. We have no problem with, that's how this thing was made.
So we'll enable the microphone feature. This is something you can do from the app, but you can also do it from the mixer. We'll hold down the intercom button while we're powering it on until the lights start blinking. I don't think I was actually hitting it.
He wasn't hitting it. Yeah. There we go.
Oh, no, actually, this one takes a little longer to boot because we have some special debug code loaded on it. So give it an extra about 15 seconds.
That's the cool thing about this system is it's not static. We can pretty much do whatever we want with it.
With the little flashing there at the beginning, actually, see, I told you you basically hold the intercom button until the lights start flashing, so then now you can let go. But what the little dual flash of the purple lights indicated was once we start allowing updates from the iPhone app, we don't want people to be able to brick the mixer. So what we have is we have the factory firmware that's always stored on there. When you do an update, it actually goes to a completely different memory location, and for some reason, if it doesn't finish doing the update, when it boots, it sees that you've tried to do an update, it'll try to load that firmware, but if it fails, it does that little double flash, and then it goes back to the factory default, so you can't brick it. It'll at least always have some kind of firmware on there as a starting point. So anyhow, that's what that was about. That's why it took a little longer to boot, and that's still in development stages right now. So anyhow, we are here in this is what we call the intercom setup, and this allows a few different things. The first thing that it does is it allows you to turn the intercom function on and off. If you wanted to disallow somebody to have intercom both sending and receiving, you can come in here and hit the button, and basically now it's disabled. To save that to memory, you basically will push and hold this until the mixer reboots. We're not going to do that. I'm going to turn that back on. Then there's another switch here, aux. If you push that, that basically enables this intercom foot switch. So we're going to push and hold and save this to memory. It's going to reboot. And now we actually have the foot switch functionality. And what you're basically doing is you're dedicating that auxiliary input for being a foot switch, because the mixer has to listen to see when you push this. Because whether you're talking or not, we want to make sure that the intercom is engaged when we push this button here. And so actually, if you talk into that mic that you got there.
Hello, hello, 1 2 1 2 1 2
So you
1
should
2
be.
1 2 1 2 1 2
And I'll
1
let
2,
go.
and I don't know if I'm distorting it or not, but yeah, there you go. So you got intercom, and then if not, it goes back to front of house.
And what we don't have hooked up is the 2 PA. So when I'm not engaging the switch, the microphone is being routed to your console, whether it's in the studio or front of house. So this is basically your vocal microphone until you hit this, and then it silently mutes and sends it to, and engages the intercom and sends it out to all the other people. But it's completely passive. It uses transformer isolation, although it does pass phantom power from the PA to the mic input. So if you have a condenser mic, it'll pass that phantom power there. So really handy little box if you're on stage and you want to have kind of a hands-free operation, especially if you've already got a microphone that you're using for vocals. There's no point in having a second microphone for intercom. So this is really kind of a no-brainer.
Yep. Got any questions up there?
Right, check. We got
What we got?
we got 6 people that like it, 1 person that loves it, and 1 share. No comments yet. But.
Oh, no comments. Well, I'm going to answer a question that I get every day. You know, we've been making the old 8-channel system, the legacy, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it, the 8-channel setup, for a heck of a long time. And everybody that sees the Pro says, can I plug that 8-channel mixer into that Pro hub? And the answer is no. It's not going to work. It's a totally different protocol. The 8-channel system was based in ADAT. It's really just an electrical form of ADAT. Used some boutique chips. Alesis started that a long time ago. The Pro is based in gigabit Ethernet, which is a totally different animal. But we did come up with a way that you can use them together. And when we were doing all the digital cards, we now have, by the way, we have Dante, we have AES, we have ADAT. Waves is on the way. It's at the CM being built as we speak. And, well, here's a Dante. Can we see that? There's a Dante card that would go in the back of the hub. I don't know. It's hard to do this when you're looking at it backwards. Okay. And there's a Dante card. We came up with the ADAT card because we had to do it really because there's a lot of Pro Tools users out there and because the original system was ADAT. So in thinking about it, in order to keep the two, here's an ADAT card. There we go. Now you can, well, I'm trying to get the glare off of it. There's an ADAT card. And you'll notice on this we have ADAT in and out, 16 channels. And we also have 16 channels of the older Hear bus out, which is the same thing if you want to link hubs. So what you can do is you can literally come off the ADAT card, Hear bus out, you know, to your old hub and hook your 8-channel mixers up to it, and they're working together. I mean, you know, there you go. I mean, the drummer doesn't need 16 channels, you know, so just give him 8.
John Russell asked, what is the potential timeline on the Waves card?
Potential timeline on the Waves card. I'll be honest. It took us a while to develop that one. The Waves folks, they have been incredible. That's some really good people to work with. I would honestly say about, let's say about 30 to 45 days tops.
We have all the parts.
All the parts and everything, and all it's going to be is testing and just actually assembly. And all the stuff is made right here in Alabama. In fact, I think the CM, I guess they are about 5 miles from us. So, you know, we can be there in a flash if we need to, if anything goes wrong.
Have they started the build on this?
Yeah, I think he has. So, yeah, they've already got the face plates and all that kind of stuff. So, well, in fact, after this, I'll ping them and just see what's going on with it.
Waves has already finished all their QA, quality control testing.
I don't know if you can hear.
Signed off on it.
Waves has signed off. They have all our prototype Waves cards right now. We don't even have one because they signed off on the firmware and the software and everything. So we're good to go on it, and it'll get there. But I don't know what the next card will be. Y'all tell us. We're considering the talkback card, because right now with the Pro, that's another question we get is, well, how do we talk back to the people, that's in the live room or that are in the ISO booth? Right now, the workaround is to just have a Pro mixer there, in the with you, so that you can talk back and forth and everyone can be active on the intercom. What we're doing is we're going to develop a talkback card, which will basically be like remember the old 600 MV that we don't make anymore, and it'll just slide into the back of the hub just like these cards. The hub is modular, so you can just put in it what you need.
Somebody asked about Maddie.
Maddie, someone's asked about Maddie. We were going to do one of the Maddie cards. There's a few big customers out there that want the Maddie card, and if enough people ask for it, it wouldn't be a big problem to do it. So, yeah. Yeah, Nason says that we've actually bought a lot of the development parts to start building one and start playing with it. So, yeah, it's very possible.
Pretty much an open protocol, so there's no licensing or anything.
I don't know if you can hear Nason. Like I said, we're doing this off the cuff. It's an open protocol. There's no licensing, so it'd be pretty simple to pull that off.
Analog output.
Analog output. I'll tell you what. Man, we really debated about that early on, because you can make this thing a digital snake, anything you want. I mean, in this iteration, it's a personal monitoring system, but in reality, it can be anything we want it to be. I think there's a lot of folks out there that say, well, why is the mixer only 16 channels? And
we actually planned for, I don't know if I can even get this thing in view.
I don't think it'll work.
But, yeah, we kind of blocked there. We got 4.
Oh boy, that's good, man.
Yeah, we got four card slots, and what we did was we actually planned to have an analog output card potentially. What we did was we've made it so that if you plug in an analog card in this slot, it's 8 channels. It shows up internally as 1 through 8. If you plug that same physical card in here, basically some of the wiring is swapped around so that it shows up as 9 through 16 rather than 1 through 8. We did that same, and then the same thing can be said here, 1 through 8, 9 through 16. We did that same thing on the outputs. So each card slot has access to 16 inputs and 16 outputs. So if we were to build an analog output card, this slot has 1 through 8 and also 9 through 16. This slot has the 1 through 8, 9 through 16 swapped. So that way if we built the analog output card, it would follow the same thing. You basically would have 1 through 8 here, 9 through 16 here. All of our digital cards just go in one slot. So the idea is you just plug it in here or here, and you kind of leave this one empty unless you wanted to use it as an extra output or a mixer network card. So that's kind of what the second slot is designed for, unless you're doing an analog setup where it needs both slots. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah. And the reason there's 2 analog cards is, well, quite frankly, we ran out of real estate. So the analog card is, here's one. Let's get rid of that is one dense card because, of all the coupling caps, everything else, power supply, and it took to do it. So we can only get 8 channels on the card, plus the DB25 connector. It just all the digitals, like Nason said, are just a single card. So
yeah, John's saying that he said in live configuration, having an analog output card would be really handy because you could use it to drive in-ears and floor monitors.
That's a good point.
So
that's a very good.
Consider that.
Yeah, we might have to go with that.
We've also got the ability to be basically just a digital snake if we did the analog inputs and analog outputs, and right now we can also be a digital snake with any flavor of inputs on one end and any flavor of outputs on the other end. And it doesn't have to be 2 points. It can be multiple hubs in different locations. You could basically use it as a way to distribute channels, and we're not really limited to 16 channels. That's just what made sense for in-ear monitoring. You get to a point where it's just too much. So, I mean, we have a pipe with enough bandwidth to do 512 channels. And that's one thing that's really cool about this system, is that it is a malleable architecture. We use FPGAs that can be, they're chips that can be reprogrammed to do anything we want them to do. If people really demand they want 512 channels, we can do it. If people want 1 megahertz sampling rate, we could even do that. If people wanted to cram video down the same pipe and display sheet music or something else, we could do that. It's basically, our only limiting factor is these things take time to develop, so we just have to only do what makes sense and what people would actually buy. But the idea is you're not stuck with what you got here. This stuff is totally flexible. We can change things very easily in the future to adapt.
Yeah, it's like this is the user interface we have now. The mixer is actually 2 boards. We can keep the same engine and use a different interface, you know, at any time. You know, just like we said, it's development and what you really want, what really makes a lot of sense, and especially, you know, in a working environment. The whole engineering premise behind this thing is to sound great, but to be simple.
I wouldn't want that many channels to mix.
No.
I get frustrated being a sound engineer and having 32 channels. I couldn't imagine trying to play an instrument and mix more than 16. That's just completely ridiculous.
Yeah, it just doesn't work out in the real world. But you know, simplicity is the main thing. There's, if you look at our website, you'll see a bunch of pictures. Orchestras and all are, a lot of the producers and the arrangers are using the Pro with a lot of players at one time, because there's no learning curve. All they have to do is look at it, and they can either turn up something and then just go back to what they're doing.
And you got to get over the fact that not all of your musicians have to have the same set of 16 channels. I don't know why people they're stuck thinking that you can only have one of these systems. And it's the same as true with the 8-channel. You don't have to have one system. You can have multiple systems, and you can break those systems out based on, like, your rhythm section could have one system with a set of channels. Then you could have your vocalist with a different system with a different set of channels. So yeah, no, you're really, if you needed more than 16, don't give everybody 48 channels to mix. That doesn't make sense. What makes better sense would be give them what is important to them and have multiple systems if you have that big of a group.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's basically how this thing was arranged, and you know how we came up with the initial concept on it. And while we were at it, just for fun, the old system is based in 48 kilohertz. Of course, that's ADAT. We do not support SMUX, so you can't do 96 at ADAT. But with everything else we have, we can go up to 192 kilohertz. And like Nason said, if you really want, 1 megahertz? I don't think I want that, but we could do it. You know, the 192 is great. You've got to hear one of these systems. If you have not heard one of these systems, it's pretty amazing. Come see us at the show, booth 627. Again, I could be lying on that. I can't remember. We're going to have some really cool things to show you.
You can tell them about down sampling if you put the ADAT card.
Oh yeah, on the ADAT card, that's one question we have gotten. Since ADAT is based in 48K, and again, the ADAT card, we do not support SMUX. It's the 44.1 or 48. Basically, anything you put into the Hearback Pro, if you're coming in analog at 192, as an example, coming out of the ADAT card, it automatically will downsample to 48. So, you know, if you're going to, you know, mix in the box, say you're a Pro Tools user, whatever you're doing, you know, it automatically handles that stuff. So it's all done internally. You don't even have to think about it. So, just a few neat things. Can you make that camera move around? Show them where we live a little bit. This camera is kind of mounted on its side. It looks like R2-D2.
mounted so that I can't really, I can tilt,
He can tilt.
but I can't pan.
You got a lot shot there. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. And I'm all messed up in these cords now. There. Yeah. What did it do? Freeze on you?
Got a little bit too much open on my computer. I was trying to control
Yeah.
the camera.
Oh well. We'll try that another time. Can't get it to work. Hopefully we'll get 2 cameras so we can swap back and forth. We can show you what we're doing, and then, heaven forbid, you can see us. So. But anyway, if you guys like this kind of thing and just a live stream, if you don't like, you want to get with the the praise team in your band and talk to us, we're probably one of the easiest companies to get along with. There's 3 of us that work on this thing full time, and the way the product ended up is through all your suggestions. So this is what everybody seemed to want, and it's doing really well. We're really proud of it. It's ever evolving. Changes all the time.
We're all
We're all musicians. I've been a drummer all my life. We're musicians and sound engineers, and we're just trying to make it easy on everybody. With a good durable product.
We see the simplicity is the feature. The lack of bells and whistles, can actually be a feature in itself, and that's our idea. We are starting to add some different bells and whistles, but we're doing it in a way that the average person doesn't need to know how to have to deal with it, because it's not in their face. The idea is, if somebody walks up to this thing, they don't need any training. They can just look at it and it makes sense. But we can also have some of these other features, they're kind of a layer deeper, either by holding a combination of buttons if you know ahead of time, if you've read through the manual or you've watched our videos, or by using the app. That's really going to make a lot of these features very easy to use. We can add a lot through that. And then we're also looking at doing a VST plugin that can work with Pro Tools and some of the other recording software, which will actually do some of the session management work that the app will also do. But this will basically allow you to save all the mixer settings and everything, and recall them with your session on Pro Tools or whatever you're using. So as long as it supports the VST plugins.
Cool. All right.
So we don't have any other comments.
Okay. Oops. Yeah, we're just looking to see what's on the website, what's going on, see what y'all are.
Craig Bauer says, "Hear Back Pro Live."
Hey, Craig.
Craig likes the idea of the plugin.
He does?
Yeah.
He likes the plug-in? Okay. Just for you.
So that should be coming soon, and
yeah.
Apparently Donnie, who's abandoned us today, he's actually out at some kind of a music festival in Atlanta. He's doing the app development, and he's actually done a lot of plugins, VST type plugins. So for him, it's actually going to be pretty easy because he's already got some experience with that. So we could pull that off pretty quickly. But we're hoping at the AES show coming up that we'll have the iOS app finished, or really close to being finished, so that we can show it. So not really right now. We're not really planning to do an Android app because this has already been like 6 months worth of work just to develop the iOS app. So I don't foresee us, going down that road. We kind of figure that if people are going to use it, they're probably going to buy an iPad just to use it for this purpose. So that being the case, I don't really foresee doubling up on our development effort to do 2 completely different platforms. So for right now, I think that's all we're going to do is just the iOS, and we'll see. If enough people whine about it, maybe we'll do the other. But of course, it will take some time because there's a lot to it. There's a lot of settings. There's pretty much you can control all the functionality of the mixer. It mirrors the mixer. You can see everything. You can even mirror multiple mixers so that if you make an adjustment on one, it makes adjustments on other mixers. So that's kind of a cool way. You can actually group mixers together so that they're all basically hearing the same thing. And if you make an adjustment on one, it's on all of them. That's really a cool thing. If you've got a sound engineer that wants to kind of help people, he can basically have a mixer back by him, put his headphones on, group his with another one, and then now he's got basically remote control of their mix, and he can hear what they're hearing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sure. No. Oh, get the network box.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is one thing that we came up with, and also, there's no network card in it. Oh well. Imagine the hub, of course, has the network card that you plug the mixers into. Here, you want to throw that in there?
Show them
So here's your network card. Let me move some of these cards. We got so much stuff here in a small area. There we go. Here's your network card, and of course your mixers. It's PoE plus. Each network card is 8 mixers. And there we are. So what you do is you can slide this into the hub. By the way, you can put 4 of these in a hub frame, and you've got a 32-port PoE plus network switch in one rack space, which is pretty cool. This guy will slide into this. And there we are.
Since Craig's watching, we should play with his tracks.
Yeah, let's do some Craig tracks. And now what we have is a nice little portable, small, very rugged, kind of like an old Countryman Direct box, which are wonderful units. And you can just throw it behind the stage or whatever you need to do. If you got an ISO booth or a live room and the hub isn't there, you just come out of another mixer output. You can run up to, and yeah, we're going to get in trouble for this. How far?
Well, we've tested up to 566 feet, and the reason why that is the way that they typically blowing everybody away.
Yeah.
The way that they test network length is by so many feet of riser cable, which is a cable that runs in the wall, and then so many feet of patch cable. So what we did was we did 500 feet of riser cable terminated to a keystone connector that would be on the wall plate, and then we did let's see, I guess that's 33 feet is how many meters? I think
10 meters.
10 meters, okay.
Yeah.
So 10 meters of patch cable on each side, and our system works perfectly fine with that. The reason is because the guy who invented Ethernet termination actually had some mistakes in his patent, and everybody follows his patent. It's called Bob Smith termination, and there's actually an IEEE article out there that everybody just seems to be oblivious about, that they basically went back and said, hey, Bob Smith was wrong. I don't know why he told everybody they need to terminate with 75 ohms. It's actually a little bit closer to 53 ohms. So if you that mismatch actually really screws things up when you get long lengths of wire. But very few people actually follow the correct termination. If you do, you can actually get a lot longer cable length. So there you go. I mean, it's very simple. In fact, it's actually a mod you could probably do on most Ethernet connections and get that extra length.
So there's a bit of information you didn't hear from us.
Just
yeah,
run through the mixer.
Yeah. Okay.
New people watching. Got 9 people watching you right now.
Okay. Okay, there she left. We got a foot switch. We got a Dante card. Our Hearback mixer with some of Craig's stuff playing.
I'll listen to mention.
Okay. And of course we have our volume page. And let's go ahead and link. This is the drums actually on this particular track that Craig has supplied to us. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into Pan. this is the link page. And so what I want to do is I want to put these two into a stereo pair. So all you do is grab one of the knobs and flick it. They are linked. And you can do that to, any pair you wish. It's always in the two that are next to each other, just to make sense. So again, simplicity is our whole purpose.
Everything except the 3 and 4 stereo.
Okay. All right. Everything but 3 and 4?
Yeah.
All right, let's just go ahead and do it. There.
These stems are all stereo.
Yeah.
With an exception.
There we are.
3 is bass, 4 is click tracks.
Okay. So we're going to be playing with the drums here, and we notice that what we have is it's straight up the middle. This is a true pan, by the way. So in the middle, there's a 3 dB dip, just like it would be in a real pan. We're in the middle, and it's hard panned left and right with this. Say that you don't want that, and this is your width. Say you don't want it that wide. We want it about there, because this is the drummer, say. But he's off to the side of the stage, so we're going to put him about right there. And there you go. So you can actually do whatever you want. And there's even a feature here. Remember, that's all the way panned left, right. Now, you can hear this, I'm sure. Let's go to the other side. There you go. Put it about right there. Now, let's adjust our width, our cue, down here. Here's the neat thing about this too. This was something that I forget who suggested it, but we did. If you go the opposite way, we can reverse it. So now left and right are reversed.
People ask, well, why would you want to do that? But there's actually a really good reason.
Nason can elaborate.
Well, your sound engineer, his perspective, especially if you're playing live, his perspective is completely opposite from yours. So most likely, if you want it to sound like you're on stage, you're going to want to reverse everything.
Right.
Left and right are going to be all swapped.
So that way, you got stage left is stage left instead of what he's looking at. And if you'll notice, we left it on the pan page, and after I think 30 seconds, this guy will time out and it immediately goes back to the volume page. So if you forget what's going on and you have other things to do, don't worry about it. It'll just put you back on the volume page and you're good to go. Another neat thing about this guy is a feature that we threw in there. Say that you're setting up and you just want to find out if you're getting signal. If you just push and hold the aux button, wherever you're getting signal on whatever channels, it'll show up. See, we can see the click track trying to bleed through here. And it gives you an overall level, a true RMS level down here as to what you're actually hearing. So we can see, well, if you're over here trying to make sure the drums are coming through, at least you know you got signal. That's kind of a little gimme that we just threw in there. Another neat thing that we've done with this is say that you're in this page and you wanted to exactly hear, I don't know, what the click track's doing. If you hold the aux button and just tap that, I'm sorry I missed it. What in the world happened? Hold the aux and just hit it. We are soloing the click track. You can hear it. And if we want to solo, there's the drums. Notice that we got a true magenta. I was corrected earlier. That's magenta. RMS level down here. And of course, it's letting you know that you are in solo mode. And we're just going to...
You might mention on the pan stuff, I'm listening to what's coming back through YouTube or through Facebook, and I think that they're actually monoing it. So I don't think that they can actually hear the stereo. So
okay, you guys probably can't hear the stereo. Thank you, Facebook.
Yeah, I think YouTube does a stereo audio, but I think we're feeding them stereo.
Yeah.
But I think that they're cheating and summing it down to mono on stream.
That figures. And of course, to get out of this and just go back to where you were, just hit a button. And we're back to the home page. And the reason this guy's flashing, if you're not familiar with the basics, this thing has 4 presets, and then of course the 5th preset is actually the active desktop. Whatever you do, this is your 5th preset. If power gets pulled or whatever and you plug it back up, it's going to remember this. Okay, so we can do that. Let's just pull. Say that somebody tripped over the Cat 5 or a forklift ran out, who knows. And power comes back. and she will boot.
Yeah, and
Give it a
keep
second.
in mind this
is
has got some debug code loaded on it, so it takes about twice as long to load. We have a corrupt.
Here we go.
Yeah, and it's basically saying, hey, you tried to update me, I'm corrupted, I'm going back to factory default. That's what that just did.
And here we go. Back to where we were. Now if we wanted to save that preset, notice that number 4 is flashing. Just hold.
You explained the flashing means it's not saved yet.
Flashing means, yeah, it's not saved. And then of course everything flashes to let you know in 4 that preset is now saved. So that's kind of we asked folks when we designed this thing, how many presets do you want? 127, how are you going to remember? I can't remember where they are.
We've got space in there for thousands, tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands of presets, but we figured 4 was enough, for what you're doing. And for those that are new, when you write down your presets, we found out this is really neat. If you use a grease pencil on this thing, you can actually just write on here with a grease pencil, and then a regular pencil eraser just takes it off, and it doesn't mar it. It's pretty cool. But this is something that we came up with these guys. And there's a new overlay. You can just mark it the way you want it, put who it was, the drums, whatever, the date, whatever you want, and then just file it away for later. But, rather than putting all the the white tape and all that stuff on it. So that's a new thing that we think is kind of cool. Tell us what you think. We haven't even put it on the price list yet. We're just seeing what people think about it. Any ideas you have, we can probably pull it off. So, just let us know. This is your product. Whatever you want, within reason. I think we can probably incorporate it. Reason and time. Time's our enemy. It just takes time to develop this stuff. So, any questions or comments, let us know, and we can do this live streaming thing anytime. You just give us a phone call and say, hey, I've got our church group here, we'd like to talk to you. We can do it. This little streaming thing's really cool. But we'll probably get a second camera so that we don't have to be just looking at a mixer. But just let us know. I guess we should give her a sign out if there's no more questions.
Check to make sure there's not.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a delay, about 30 seconds to a minute, depending. So.
Yeah, we're kind of delayed. So, let's see what's going on. Nope. Okay. Signing off. I guess we'll talk to you next time. Hey, rock on.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching us.